So welcome everybody to the IOTA Discord. This is Community Treasury Governance Meeting on Tuesday, the 4th of October. We are here gathering to talk about the establishing of a Shimmer community treasury. Yeah, so the Shimmer community has owns 10% of the total Shimmer supply. These 10% are available for a community treasury to support the ecosystem. And basically, we are working on creating a framework, creating a set of rules for a committee-based grant program that would be ruled by the community, governed by the community, but would consist of committed individuals that would basically take care of handling proposals of projects that seek funding to do good stuff, to move their projects over to the Shimmer ecosystem, to support the communities, to support all kind of important things that the community and the ecosystem needs. We have a couple of documents for this. Oh, where are them? Maybe. So we have a Google Doc, basically that is. Where did I show it here? So we have a general sketch out, a draft proposal, how this community grant committee could be set up. A lot of things here are have taken inspiration from other grant programs, especially from AVA grants and from Bankless DAO. So it's not some super new special stuff that we're trying to implement. We are basically taking established and good working templates from other projects and adjusting them to the needs of the Shimmer and IOTA community. Um, we are thinking about, we are working on this since several months already. I think we already got our 2 month minimum on that. Um, so it's a quite well thought through proposal. We have defined a mission for this whole thing. We have defined basically how the committee should look like, how many reviewers there should be. There should be a lead. We have touched on how these people should be compensated. We have talked about funding priorities and target areas for funding. That should be our main um, areas where we think funding is important, and the community treasury should hop in there and target these projects. We have currently 10 guiding principles defined that are basically, let's say, the framework and the outer boundaries in which these Treasury Grant Committee should operate. Some things that are important to mention here are that we, of course, try to be seeking for things that will have a long-lasting impact on the ecosystem and on the community. That we defined a couple of things about due diligence, about conflicts of interest and things like that. So this is all basically defined in this 10 major rules that will basically from this on the working rules for the treasury, the internal working structures will be derived. We have clearly said that we are trying to have an easy and quick access to funding. We don't want to overcomplicate things, especially for small grants. But of course, we will increase the requirements for grants the more is asked from the community. Yeah? And so we will implement some tier system that basically We'll make it up to 5,000 US dollar. Very, very easy to get a grant. We hope this could applications in this range could be handled in a very short time frame, couple of days until approval, and without big requirements. But the more funding is asked from the Treasury, basically the requirements will be increased. There will be milestones defined. There will be reviews of code. There will be a lot of things happening to make sure that funding is not spent useless and projects just don't run away with community funds, and that basically will be delivered what was requested and what was explained in the proposal. Um, Currently, I think this is also what JD tackled last week, pretty much um, the budget for this grant committee. We had a couple of polls running already in the community on Twitter and in Discord and everywhere. And so basically, seems like everybody can agree to something like that 15% of the treasury would be available for the first year operation for this grant committee. So this would be in Shimmer tokens, something around 27 millions. On current, let's say today's market price, since we launched, this would be something like $2.9 million for a year, which would be already very, very nice. I think with so much funds, a lot of good things could happen and a lot of boosting for the Shimmer ecosystem could happen with such an amount of treasury tokens. And basically, you will find this all in this document. Maybe I share it here in the chat again. Yeah, so we have this chat here. I share the document for um, the grant committee idea. And then before basically I went to Singapore, we also talked about how we will select community members for or members of such a committee. And there is also a doc about this grant committee selection process. Um, Also sharing it here in the channel. But this is not yet very detailed worked out. I also didn't have much time last week while we've been on this crypto conference to really dig into this. So this is something I think we still need to put a little bit of work in to define a good process, how we will find the right people for this committee. Yeah. So basically, we think we will need minimum 4 grant reviewers that would work something like around 10 hours per week, basically on a kind of a freelancer basis, and do nothing else than really just checking in proposals, checking in with teams, doing due diligence, backup checks, and decide basically if a proposal is worth to receive funding or not. Depending on how much funding is asked, this can be done by either only one grant reviewer, but for higher tiers, usually more, or the whole committee will need to come together and need to come to a decision. And we think that we will need one full-time program lead that would basically organize everything, keep everything together. Also, of course, review grants, especially be involved in the bigger grant applications. Somebody that takes care of all the financing and accounting and bookkeeping of the treasury of the grant committee. And there's a lot of things to do. And for this also, we would need to define a process how the community can decide who this should be. Yeah. We worked a little bit on a wish list for skills and a nomination process that would make use of our governance forum, where basically everybody can propose himself to become a grant reviewer or a program lead, and then potentially through a series of polls, we would narrow it down until we come to a number of candidates that seem to be in favor of a bigger part of the community, and then we could put this up to a vote in Firefly. And then basically establish this whole thing, set up very likely a Swiss legal entity for this, so that basically everything operates legally, has to pay taxes and things like this, but also offers the needed legal protection for the people that work for the community in this whole thing. But this is where we are currently still need a couple of a bit of input from you guys from the community to figure out what would be the best approach here in the details. Okay, I've been talking for 20 minutes already. Um, yes. So, how did, can anybody bring me maybe up to date what you discussed with JD last Tuesday? Werner, have you been there or yeah? Yeah, so used he used this presentation. Yeah. Yeah. We don't like pessimistic people. Yeah. Mm, yeah. Mm, yeah. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, you have to basically, yeah. Once you approve a project, basically you say, okay, yeah, we approve your proposal and you will have the next 3 to 4 months until everything is delivered. You need to have the funding secured for these 3 to 4 months for this, like I said, for the milestones. Basically, once it is approved, I would also say um, convert it to stablecoin, yeah, sell Shimmer and have the stablecoin available so that it's absolutely clear that this project can receive the funding that they need without the risk of whatever happens to the price that in the end you have to say, yeah, the last milestone we can't pay or whatever. Yeah, that's a good approach. And you thought about for the committee also have the first 6 months um, secured. Yeah, I think that's good. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, you have to operate like this. This, I think, is a very reasonable approach. Yes. Mhm. Yeah, that's a yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, sometimes I know some projects are. I mean, this is of course if they are willing to take a little bit bigger risk, they might they might commit also, or they might even want to have, I don't know, 30% or even 50% of the grant paid out in native tokens, um, because they know, okay, they can cover their running costs kind of otherwise, and they would have then potentially the chance of the rising prices if they are new, if like a project like Shimmer that is new and it's potentially going to increase in value. So they, yeah, so maybe this could be something that we could, it could be a question, it could be something to ask in the proposal. If the project prefers to receive 100% of the funding. Mm, mm, yeah, yeah, mm, and we drop, and then they can't deliver. Yeah, yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, yeah, mm, yeah. Yeah, yeah. So maybe that's really a better thing to not even to really have it pretty clear. The funds will be, yeah, yeah. What about if, let's say, if I need, yes, yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, this is may potentially because also the committee members will be paid out in stablecoin, so that's something potentially. I mean, there will be two big options, yeah, USDT or USDC. Mostly Tether is still ruling, but this is maybe also something that could. I mean, the committee will anyway need to have. They will have a business account on an exchange. So then basically they will have access to both assets, and then potentially, I mean, I wouldn't have an issue if a project, the one project prefers USDC, the other project prefers USDT. Um, Converting to one of both should maybe potentially be something that the project can then just say, okay, we prefer this or this one. Yeah. Mm, Yeah. Yeah. Mm. Yeah. 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 Bad shit. Yeah. That's true. Mm. Yeah. Mm. Yeah, but still, yeah, you will, especially if you want to get access to the big stable coins like USDC, USDT, you will need an exchange account. I mean, the entity would potentially be based in Switzerland. Um, and also then we have to see that these it needs to be an exchange that basically has Shimmer listed. So let's say if we want to start next week or in 2 or 3 weeks, potentially we would need to start with Bitfinex. Yeah, Bitfinex has institutional accounts for companies, and then it has Shimmer tokens. So, but potentially this could then once Shimmer get listed on more exchanges. Um, could then maybe also to create several accounts also to again always you have to hedge against any kind of risk and better have a couple of accounts on exchanges then available. You never know what's going to happen, yeah, and so yeah. mm, mm, yeah, I mean this is you mean this is for the for the projects that receive funding, um, or for the committee itself? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, especially the. I mean, for the committee, I don't see a big thing because it's going to be a company very likely a GmbH or LLC, so it's anyway a legal entity that has the account on the exchanges. The yeah yeah. Why not? I think basically yeah we have to figure that out. I mean, for the Swiss under Swiss law, I think it's no problem because I mean, that's their business model, yeah. It might be a thing for the US citizen, but yeah. I mean, yeah, yeah. Mm. I mean, the reward would never be issued from a single person. Yeah, so the payment to Pakistan would always happen from the Swiss entity account. Let's say it like this. So there's nowhere the name of a committee member occurring in this whole thing. This is definitely, I think, how the setup needs to be. If it is a Swiss association or a Swiss GmbH, then basically there's going to happen a payout from the account of the Swiss GmbH towards project XY in Pakistan or something like that. Yeah. Yeah, but these are things, now that we're getting closer, I will bring this up with Anya, and maybe I'll get also Bian again involved, so that we have these legal requirements nailed down. Let's say, assuming we would do a Swiss entity, we just need to have this information somewhere available so that we can review it and everybody knows what would be the implementations to make this whole thing work secure and on a legal secure basis. Yeah. Um, One question regarding the things that I had was just coming up to my mind. What would be something, let's say the committee decides to fund something on an ongoing monthly basis. Let's say a YouTube account. Yeah, somebody is making a proposal. Okay, I'm doing every week a promotional video about IOTA and Shimmer and blah blah blah, and I want to have this as a 12-month or 8-month thing. Would we then also directly convert the needed tokens for the full year? Or would we also say, okay, let's 3 or 4 months or 6 months, and then later on the next one or something for this? What do you think? I mean, I wouldn't do it every month. This also would involve maybe potentially a lot of administrative work. But yeah, if you really have something that is would be running for 12 months, let's say it like this, I think you can do, let's say, the first 6 months, similar like you do it with the committee, yeah? First 6 months and then another six months later on, yeah. In stablecoin also, yeah. So you would convert Shimmer to stablecoin for 6 months, and then another, let's say after 5 months, you do another conversion for the rest of for the other 6 months. Yeah. 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 Mm. Yeah, yeah. Mm. Yeah. Whoa, 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 Andy, uh, you're talking about U.S. Treasury bonds or stuff like this? We are doing crypto, my friend. I mean, why not put some money in some lending protocol or in anything where you get a proper API instead of uh, supporting the traditional finance system with this whole thing. I mean, this is just really my personal opinion, but I wouldn't interact in any way with the traditional financial system if it's not absolutely needed, and especially not for getting 2% back of something. Yeah, yeah, that's It's just my personal opinion. I mean, if we want to hedge against anything, just put it in a DeFi protocol and get a proper yield on something, um, instead of relying on governments, bonds, and things like this. That's a bit anti-crypto in my humble opinion. Yeah, I know. You're too a counter-revolutionary, I think, yes. Yeah. I mean that's the really we will have huge opportunities to have some pretty secure yield opportunities for parts of the treasury. So um, I just don't see the need for going back to traditional um, things at all. Yeah, that's yeah. Mm. That's the important question. We need to find. Yeah. Mm. Ah, yeah. Yeah, so would be really good if some committee members would really have some experience in that, and then in the end it should be a decision of of the committee. Yeah, things like this would then be really I assume would be something that is an internal vote of the committee members. Say, okay, let's put 50,000 Shimmer tokens into a whatever a yield thing and get like 8 or 10% yield on that, or in any kind of staking or something. Um, yeah, I, my personal opinion, uh, once the committee has received this this whatever budget for a year, they should be pretty free to handle those funds without all the time asking the community for permissions on anything. I mean, of course, if they want to put half of the budget into uh, this not, but they should have the possibility to take opportunities with some part of the budget. Yeah, I don't. Yeah. Mm, yeah. Mm. Yeah, I mean, basically, you would make a proposal. So actually, you could do it like this. So the committee actually could make a proposal to not themselves, but to the community, and say, okay, we see we have like basically potentially for the next 6 8 months we have 25% of the treasury just laying around and doing nothing. Are is the community okay if we put this into a basket of whatever? Yeah. Yes. 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 Yeah. 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 That's I think that's a good approach because like you have really have to see. Let's say if you really know, okay, there's um, whatever whatever happens, we would have 25 million in available for 1 year for the budget. Yeah, that's not something very likely going to be spent in a year, and so you either could say, okay, let's put 5 million of this into whatever a basket and earn a little bit of yield for this, um, get a 10% return or something on that. Yeah, but this should be then like I said, it should be a proposal by the committee. Ask the community if they are okay with it, and yeah, that's true. Yeah, they gambled it all the way. Yes, yes. Yeah. Okay. What else we have? Like I said, then who? Ray Dalio. Ask him. Ask him. Yeah. Um, have you also spoken about these things with JD? I think he did a couple of calculations here of how many projects could be funded with different tiers, something, different scenarios. I mean, this is of course then this is like a long term, yeah, year one, year two, year three thing is maybe a little bit too. For me, I always think in 1 year thing, yeah. So but that's maybe my mind's, yeah, yeah. Um, but this is kind of, just for my understanding, this would mean that 5% of the budget are reserved for this tier one projects, 50% for tier two, 30% for tier three. Is this something that is kind of or like a fixed thing? Let's say, okay, the 5% here are used already, and but you still have nearly nothing, but you just get proposals in for tier one, but you can't say then, okay, we spent already our 5%. Um, Come next year again with your $5,000 proposal. Would this be something really fixed, or is this something meant as just like a guideline? Yeah, yeah. Yeah, but I mean, I was just thinking is like we have absolutely no idea how this whole thing would will come. We cannot predict now what kind of proposals we will get in. So that's a bit of a, it's cool to have this as a guiding thing because then it's a great thing. You have this 30 projects in this kind of middle tier thing. Would be great if we can establish this. Because yeah, yeah. How many projects you can, yeah, yeah, yeah. Mhm. Yeah, cool. No, that's an important and a good approach. I don't know. I saw somewhere, I don't know. I think in Twitter in the last week or something, um, there was an article about basically the thing is kind of what is creating more impact. Funding 25 small projects and having, let's say, two or three of them kicking off, or funding one or two huge projects um, that basically will either be a game changer or a complete mess. uh, I don't know. I don't remember really, but I have to look it up. It was really kind of an interesting article from a, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, somehow it was going around on Twitter. I will have to figure out if I find it again. Yeah. Mm. Yeah. Yeah. It can depends. I think like the smaller ones, like I said, it's more these ecosystem, like say, or hackathon and event things. They're usually not really expensive, but they can have a quite nice impact. But if you only, yeah, they, yeah, there's a lot of there's a multiplier behind these things. Yeah. Yeah. Or let's say let's spending $5,000 on a really nice coded whatever thing. I'd rather spend $5,000 in sending 8 community members to an event in Barcelona where they're going to meet. Yes, yes, that's very likely for the small grants, for the small tiers, much more effective use of capital than paying one dev to build a dashboard XY that shows something. Yeah. Mm. Yeah. 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 For devs, that's going to be. Yeah. 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 That's a good point. Yeah. You have this core infrastructure things that are absolutely needed to be there. And I think this is really something where the community really needs to step in and absolutely fund such things. Yeah, like you said, a proper implementation of multi-sig gnosis. Um, a stable coin is also something that is kind of just like super important. Um, Still also, even if we say we don't need, we need bridges to other ecosystems, and this is also something that will cost money, but you need to be connected to Binance Chain, you need to be connected to Polygon and Ethereum, to Phantom, to Near. We need to basically bring us in the center of these Web3 ecosystems around us. And because then, as soon as we have a bridge, we can basically grab liquidity and grab capital from those ecosystems moving over to us. Yeah, and this is really important, and it needs to be paid by somebody. And yeah, this is. Mm. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Or ether scan, yeah. A proper chain explorer. I mean, currently we have in WASP we have still this experimental Explorer, which is a fork of something, but uh, I see it every day now, and the people are basically they're used to use Etherscan because they you can easily interact it with MetaMask and all the things. And as far as I know, even implementing Etherscan is super expensive. Let's say it like this. So I think these are things the community will really need to think about. Chunking out some funds for things like this that are absolutely essential because otherwise it doesn't matter how cool we are and how great our community if we don't have such essential tools and if essential infrastructure available that that will make it easy for projects to come in from other ecosystem and deploy their application on Shimmer and IOTA, we will have a hard time and we'll be struggling. Yeah, yeah, it's got to be there. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Mhm. Absolutely. I mean, we had this. We just heard it a couple of weeks ago from when we had the people here. Also, that is basically what Touchpoint is doing. But I think the community can also step in there. I mean, we have this. A lot of projects ask for this um, marketing support, community support, outreach support. Having being featured in the Monaco podcast or things like this. Yeah, this is super important for teams to come in. They know, okay, they're not going to be dropped on a cold plate and have to do everything by themselves. They basically will be pampered a bit uh, by something that is more than just pure funding. They will be connected to the community and to the ecosystem. And I think that's we talked already about that to get this relationship potentially even with Touchpoint going, so that we can basically offer teams to integrate them with Touchpoint, bring them in, so that they also get the care of the people involved there. Yeah. 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 Yes. And you have them committed. Yeah. Yeah. Yes, you have to. Yeah. Um, what do I wanted to say? Uh, we've been talking about this event thing, and I really can say kind of. I mean, this was now my first crypto event last week in Singapore, but it was really extremely valuable and extremely important. And I think this is really something that we've been also talking internally about this. We will do much more of these things, and we will also we want to support our community project builders like the teams also to go out there because it's really like it's not about talking on the big stage with I don't know Charles Hoskinson and all these this is useless, but all the things that happen around such an event, yeah, there was like in Singapore, there was this whole week, there were over 350 different networking events and team events and things there. So basically, you meet the whole crypto scene there, and it was for us the first time since a long time that we really stepped out and have been visible again. And everybody was kind of surprised. Oh, IOTA is still existing? Oh, we haven't heard of it since years. What are you doing? Interesting. Oh, you build a new. It was such a great way of connecting, and we have made so much connection with teams that are basically interested in checking out what we're doing. Yeah, and so it was a very big success, and I think this is something. Yeah. Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, no, no. Also, there have been quite some hackathon or hack events things. There have been, I mean, Algorand has done. They had like they call it a greenhouse, so they had a huge venture there. Then you had a couple of these CK like Mysten Labs and CK Rollup things. Um, and so this was things that mainly happened, let's say, during the day. Um, and then later on, it all went over into some kind of network partying, hopping around. But you could start at 9 o'clock in the morning in going into presentation or in going into getting a hands-on testing out some implementations for more developer-focused things, which I mean, nobody of us was a dev, so we didn't attend this. But the program around this, you will see there were a lot of things going on there. Yeah, and all the teams that everybody was there. We've been meeting with so many also big teams and big names of the space, and I think we could leave a lot of impact there. Yeah, we made a lot of connections. Everybody's sharing his Telegram, and now the week after we kind of start texting around and getting together with them, and this was really really valuable. And it would have also been very valuable for every ecosystem team of us that would have been there. Yeah. So let's say Soon Labs or Tanglesea or something. For them, it's always very good thing to get connected on such events. And this is something I think that a treasury could really fund because you just pay the travel expenses, um, and that's not really a big chunk of money, but it has can have a big effect, I think. Mhm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Mhm. Yeah. I think it was also cool for us to see this because now we could really say, okay, now we're there. It's like not just like, okay, we're working and it's blah testing and something. We had something to show. We were going live on this day, and so it was not just like talk. It was here. That's the project. It's there. It's running. Try it out. Here's the Explorer, and so that was really cool. And interesting for me was also to see that nobody in this all days that I've been there has ever asked me if we are still running a coordinator or any. It was completely nobody even mentioned the thing that we are also afraid of. Let's say, oh, we're still not decentralized, and you have this. even those that did know us from long time ago, for them it was not something to question. Yeah, they only wanted to know, okay, what is our progress? Where are we now? What is going next? You have an EVM, wow, great. You have smart contracts, great. Bang. This is the thing that is important for those kind of crypto people. It seemed, yeah, for us and for other teams. Yeah, they were not really focusing on figuring out if we still have all the same problems that we had before. Mm. Yeah, I mean it's I think it's super. I was just surprised that it's because for us it's the most important thing ever, but I was kind of surprised that it didn't matter for anybody else. It seems. Yeah, I was like, yeah, 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 mm, yeah. Okie dokie. So what else? So let's say, how do we have another meeting on Thursday. I will really try to nail down some of the talking points that we also had over the last couple of weeks and put them all together in the proposal here. Also, do some more write up on the selection process for the grant committee. I would really hope if somebody of you has a couple of minutes time to look through the document, especially for the selection process, and come up with a little bit more questions that, let's say, if somebody wants to apply to become a grant reviewer, basically, what do we want to know from such a person? Yeah, and I started to put up a couple of questions here. Michele made some nice suggestions to use the STAR method, which is something that is used in human resources to evaluate candidates. Um, but it would be great if we could come to out with a list of questions for the committee members and also maybe a little bit advanced or more detailed list of questions that would be required from the lead, because then we would really be able to move forward with this and potentially start reaching out into the community soon to get people, let's say, interested in potentially becoming a grant reviewer. And potentially we lay out a process and we open the governance forum for the first nominations. I mean, not this week, but I think we shouldn't waste, not waste, but we shouldn't spend so much more time in this. I think we basically need to get these things rolling because also the community will start to ask questions. Hey, now we have a treasury. Basically, when can we use it? Yeah. Um, so yeah, whoever of you has time to hop on in these documents, they are free for commenting or suggesting there. Um, would be really great if we can make a bit progress there. Good. Anybody got some? Yeah, absolutely. Hi, Asa. Mhm. That would be, yeah, and you yeah, and you just ping at governance, because then basically everybody knows when your meeting notes are out, and then basically everybody knows, okay, cool, Asa has put up something, and then that would be great. Yeah. Yep. Governance discussion or yeah, yeah, that's great. Cool. Okay, everybody. Do we have some questions in the audience? Something we should clarify or some suggestions? Okay, so then I really invite every one of you that haven't had the chance until now to look into these two documents. I've shared them, like I said, I've shared them here in the chat also, and they are also pinned in the governance channel. Um, Look through it, put some comments up there. Always happy to answer questions and review it, and also really take suggestions into these docs so that we really can move forward and come to a finalized proposal on the committee structure, and also a finalized proposal on the selection process, how the community could choose their, let's say, best skilled persons to sit in such a committee, because we then really can put this forward. Once we have a voting functionality available in Firefly, I would really love to have these proposals ready to be voted on. Um, Still have no finalized timeline from the Firefly team when this will be, but yeah, expect this to happen in the next couple of weeks, and then we should really, um, once we can vote, we really should vote on these things and start to do something useful with those tokens. Otherwise, they will just sit around for the next couple of months, and we can't do anything with them, and that would be a pity, and maybe a missed chance to really boost this ecosystem in this important first month now. Until then, I thank every one of you very much. We will have the next call on Thursday at 5 p.m. We will have the Bankless DeFi education session at 4 p.m. And so after the DeFi session, usually will take an hour, 5 minutes or something like this, we will have the governance call, and we can see if we got a couple of comments or suggestions already. Like I said, I will add some stuff to the documents that we have been talking over the last couple of meetings, and try to finalize this proposal and bring them to the state to a stage where we can really put this up into the governance forum and present it to the wider Shimmer community so that everybody can review it and give their input, and people can make up their mind then if they want to go this way, and also who potentially should become part of such a committee. Until then, thanks a lot, everybody, and I wish you a nice Tuesday, everyone. Alrighty, bye bye, everyone.